Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with the Kaisa Ultimate Complete Guide. So now what is this new Ultimate Complete Guide thingy? Well, basically, as most of you guys know from my not couple but like a ton of Kaisa videos as of late, ever since she got the Q buff, Kaisa currently has two viable builds, one being the hybrid build and one being the crit build. So today in this, basically what is two updated complete guides combined into one, which is what I'm gonna call it ultimate complete guide, which I don't really think we'll be seeing very much of in the future because not too many ADCs have two viable builds at the same time, except like if they go AP or something, which most of the time is pretty troll. So I don't really think we'll be seeing this all that much, except some ADCs do have minor differences, like for example, on Tristana going for Navori or going for Bloodthirster kind of build, which does differ quite a bit. So maybe something like her does also exist. But anyways, today we're going to be talking about Kaisa. So Kaisa, in my opinion, at the current stage of the game, is one of the top 3 ADCs, the other two being Lucian and Ezreal. And depending on how you want to see it, Kaisa is, in my opinion, definitely one of the best 3, and in my opinion is, I'm not sure if I think is the best, but I think it's within the top 2. Let's just put it that way. I think she's within the top 2, in my opinion. And Kaisa is also the champion that I have the most mastery on currently, because I have the most matches on Kaisa. Now, I don't even have level 7 mastery. I'm almost there. I'm still on level 6 mastery, but that's because personally I play like all the ADCs. So if you can see, now you can actually see mastery just based on this screen. Like, I actually play all the ADCs, and I actually got mastery on like pretty much all of them. Akshan is of course a mid laner, so don't quite have mastery on him. So don't quite have so much time to focus on one particular ADC, because I like to play them all and, you know, make content on all of them. Alright, so anyways, as usual for all of our updated complete guides, we do refer to the original for her skills and her leveling order. And with that, we can jump straight into our build. So the build, we have multiple builds. So I'm going to go through this is the hybrid build. I'm going to go through the crit build, and then I'm going to go through the some alternative items she can go for, and then I'm also going to toss in 2 alternative builds that you can actually go for. One of them is a old build with Blade of the Rune King, and the other one is making use of Wit's End as part of your core build. And the final build we actually have is the AP build. Now, I'm not actually going to explain this AP build at all. It's basically exactly what you see here. This is pretty much, you only use it in ARAM if you have Kaisa in ARAM and you don't have any AP on your team. Just very briefly, how you do this is you get the Luden's Echo for the W evolve, get yourself a BF sword which will build into GA eventually, and then complete this for your Q evolve, and then just build the rest of the items as you guys can see over there. So the first build we're going to actually talk about is going to actually be the crit build. So I think this build is pretty much the easiest build to actually explain. So how you get your, basically Kaisa's builds all focuses on getting her evolves as fast as possible. So the first build we have is the crit build, as I mentioned. So how you get your Q evolve is really straightforward. You get 2 BF swords. This is going to get you your Q evolve. So what will these BF swords build into? Well, they're going to build into the Storm Razor and the Infinity Edge eventually. So after you get these two, generally I go for tier 1 boots. So now that the system no longer actually recommends boots after you complete a first item, so I probably go something like this: 2 BF swords into my tier 1 boots, and then I would complete my Storm Razor as my first completed item. So after I go for Storm Razor, you have 2 options. The first option is to complete Infinity Edge, because don't forget you already have 1 component of Infinity Edge, and you can actually complete into the entire Infinity Edge. But the second option is to go for Runan's Hurricane to rush your E evolution and also give you that spread damage. So nowadays I mostly favor going for Runan's before Infinity Edge, but I used to favor going for Infinity Edge over Runan's just because you already have it partially built, and it's, in this case, a little bit more gold efficient, because you only need to spend an extra 1900 gold compared to 2800 gold to complete Runan's Hurricane. But pretty much which you built first out of these 2 is personal preference. And then after that, you throw in the new Lord Dominic's Regard. Now this gives you 100% crit with 4 items. And by the way, for your boot upgrade, I generally upgrade out of tier 1 boots after I get my second completed item. So whether that is Runans or whether that is IE, I then go for my boot upgrade. For Kaisa, I generally default to play the steel caps because you're generally diving into the backline and you want to reduce damage by that 15%. If you need more tenacity, then the Merc Tread. So basically defensive options most of the time. And like 90% of games, or like 99% of games, you go for stasis because again, you dive backline. You want that stasis to keep yourself safe. Of course, Quicksilver is also an option, and pretty much that's it. And for your last item option, you do have quite a number of options here. So, because you already have 100% crit, you generally don't want to go for another crit item. Now, these items are if you want to substitute one of your crit items, but at this point, I think these 3 crit items are way too strong to substitute, and LDR is also essential to this build. So, I don't really think you will actually ever be touching these crit items anymore. If you need Grievous Wounds in that particular game, you do want to actually get yourself the Executioner's Calling. Like that. You never want to actually get the Maul Reminder because that doesn't give you 100% crit. So you do want to get the Executioner's Calling if you need it, and eventually you sell it when you get to your last item. So what are your last item options? So basically, your last item options consist of Riftmaker. So what Riftmaker gives you is ADAP. ADAP gives you the W evolve, but what you really want it for is not so much the W evolve, because that doesn't really matter too much in a crit build, but what you really want is actually the little bit of health and the Omnivamp as well as the true damage when in combat. So you're mainly taking this for the 2 passive, the Omnivamp and the Void Corruption passive, as well as the little bit of health for a little bit extra survivability. So this is a very popular last item option, but I feel that something that competes with it a lot is GA. Because by this point, you have 4 crit items, you're really strong. So sometimes all you need is that survivability, that GA just for the revive. And that is pretty much what you can go for your last couple of items. Another option is Wit's End. So Wit's End can be built earlier as well. You normally only build it when you're playing into very heavy AP compositions. You can use it as a last item option if you want to still rush the crit, for example. However, generally if you do plan to go for Wit's End, it's generally better to get it sooner rather than later for the magic resist, the attack speed, as well as of course getting the passive portion where you can get healing when you're below 50% health. So generally building it earlier is better than later. So that is it for the crit build. Now we're going to talk about the hybrid build. So the hybrid build is pretty similar to the crit build initially. So you first get the double BF sword for your Q evolve, then you get the tier 1 boots. Then what you do is you get the Stormrazor again as usual. Then you go for Nashor's Tooth. So Nashor's Tooth gives you your E evolve in this case, and then after getting Nashor's Tooth, because you did get 70 AP from here, you get yourself the Amp Tome. It gives you 25 AP, which gives you a grand total of 95 AP, which is more than enough for your W evolve. So basically with this build is the triple evolution rush. So you're gonna be getting with this build Q evolve over here, then you're going to get E evolve and then W evolve very shortly after, just with 500 extra gold. So this is the fastest way to rush your evolutions. And after you complete all of this, then you can upgrade your second BF sword into your Blade of the Rune King. Not Blade of the Rune King, into your IE. And then, of course, being a hybrid build with the Nashor's Tooth, you then go for another AP item, which is the Riftmaker, again for the Omnivamp, for the Void Corruption, and that little bit of health, very useful. And for your last item option, you really have quite a bit. So by this point, you have this last item option. You will not hit 100% crit with this build because you already have 2 AP items. So if you need armor penetration, you still want to go for Lord Dominic's Regard. But of course, again, as usual, if you need Grievous Wounds, you do want to get Executioner's Calling early on and then sell it later on when you get to your last item option. So you do have a couple of options here. First up, you have the LDR option for the armor penetration, but some matches you don't actually need the armor penetration. Instead, you can actually go for Runan's Hurricane, which is going to be your best damage option, because Runan's on Kaisa is really strong. Runan's got buffed, Kaisa got buffed, and Kaisa can proc her passive on 3 people at the same time with the help of Runan's Hurricane. So Runan's Hurricane is really your best item option here if you are not going for LDR. Then another option you can have is Bloodthirster for even more Vamp. So this gives you 15% physical Vamp. In combination with your 12% Omnivamp, your lifesteal is going to be insane. But generally, I don't recommend this because I don't really think you need it. I think it's generally a toss-up between these 2 items. And of course, another item option you have is also going to be the GA. So GA is a viable last item option as well, as you guys can see. Something like that. And yeah, that is pretty much it for this hybrid build. So now I'm gonna go through how you actually build the two other alternative builds, and I'm gonna use the AP default build here because I have empty slots here that I can use to swap items in and out for easier explanation. So the first build you can go for is the Blade of the Rune King build. Now this is a very old build using Blade of the Rune King, and it is pretty outdated, I would say, but it still works if you really do want to use it. So Blade of the Rune King, it gives you both AD as well as attack speed. So now this pretty much means that you will be able to actually try to rush both your E evolve as well as your Q evolve. So what you normally go for here with the old Blade of the Rune King build is you go for Blade of the Rune King itself, then you go for Executioner's Calling, and don't forget, even though you go for this build and you don't actually want to get your Moral Reminder, you can still get Executioner's Calling and sell it later on. So this will give you your Q evolve. So going for Blade of the Rune King plus Executioner's Calling with the 15 damage, and plus the Longsword will give you your Q evolve. Actually, I'm not sure if it does anymore because they did nerf Blade of the Rune King's damage, so maybe it doesn't anymore. Let me just do a quick check here, so that I don't give you guys any like wrong information. So your Q evolve actually takes 70 AD, and this gives you 20 AD plus 15, which is 35. 35 plus 12 does not actually give you 70 AD anymore. So okay, maybe this build doesn't actually work anymore. So whoops, if you want to go for this this build, it doesn't really work anymore. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, okay, so maybe not this build. Let's just scrap that, pretend that didn't exist. So let's get into another build that is possible, which is the Wit's End build. So what you do with the Wit's End build is, if I can find it, we need some BF swords. So here we start off with the same deal, the double BF sword into Storm Razor. As you guys can see, double BF sword into Storm Razor pretty much is always the way to go, because Blade of the Rune King build kind of doesn't really work anymore, which is why Kaisa players have stopped building Blade of the Rune King for a very long time. Yeah, probably after that Blade of the Rune King nerf and Storm Razor came in, all, you know, etc, and Storm Razor became cheaper and built out of BF sword. It pretty much became that. So here what you go for is you go for this double BF sword into Storm Razor, and then if I can actually find it, you go for the Wit's End. So Wit's End gives you 45% attack speed, and Storm Razor gives you 20% attack speed. So that gives you 65% attack speed, which is enough for the E evolve. So this is pretty much the build that you would go for to rush your Q and E evolve if there is a heavy AP. If there is heavy AP damage in the enemy team. So this is what you want to go for to you know, get yourself those evolves. So if you really wanted to go for Blade of the Rune King, I can't think of a way to do that, which is going for Blade of the Rune King and then probably getting something like a BF sword, which will then give you 60 AD, and then getting a Longsword, which will get you to enough AD to evolve your Q at long last. So you're gonna get enough to evolve your Q at long last, and then you can get either a Wit's End or you can get a Runan's Hurricane to get your E evolve, because those are the only two items that give you 45% attack speed, which gives you just enough to get your E evolve. So it's gonna be one or the other between these two if you want to go for a Blade of the Rune King build. But anyways, there we go. We finally have it. There is the build for Kaisa and all the other possible starts you can get for Kaisa. So now we're going to talk about the runes and the spells. So for the runes, in my opinion, it's pretty straightforward. You pretty much want to go for lethal tempo every single time. Pretty much because you do want to get the attack speed to proc your passive more often, and just to dish out more DPS. Now, technically speaking, if I can go to the correct view, technically speaking, Conquer is also viable, because you can stack up your Conquer and you can get the Omnivam and extra AD. Kraken Slayer is also viable, and I do know that some people enjoy taking Kraken Slayer on Kaisa, but in my opinion, just getting lethal tempo for attack speed is just better in my opinion. You do have two attack speed items that you do build, but you know, getting more attack speed never really hurts, and I don't think this is enough attack speed to make up for in the items to make up for not going for lethal tempo. So I do think. Okay, anyways, for some reason my recording just randomly cut off there. So anyways, I do think that lethal tempo is actually a better option compared to the other two. So I actually recorded all the way up to the inspiration rune already. But anyways, let's not let's not talk about that. So anyways, for the domination rune, I'm gonna have to repeat myself again. For the domination rune, you pretty much always want to go for Hunter Vampirism to get yourself that extra physical vamp, which obviously makes sense because you're always gonna want to have lifesteal, whether you're diving in or whether you're playing front and back. Always gonna want to have lifesteal. And for resolve, I love taking the bone plating now. Ever since they did give it the buff that allows it to trigger on the first attack instead of triggering on the subsequent 3 attacks, which does allow you to block some poke, does allow you to block some random sources of damage, and allows you to have anti-burst as well. And the other option you have is of course the nullifying orb, which I do go for sometimes as well. And lastly, for your inspiration, I like going for Hunter Genius to get my ability cooldowns up faster, because Kaisa's cooldowns are not the longest on her Q and her E, but getting it up faster never really hurt anyone, so I do like going for Hunter Genius. But of course, Nimbus Cloak is also an option if you do prefer that. And lastly, for the spells, I think it's relatively obvious. You go for Flash and you go for Exhaust. Don't think there's too much arguments here. So with all that out of the way, we can jump into the first gameplay. Alright guys, so here we have game 1, which is gonna be the 100% full crit build, which is gonna be the recommended default build for Kaisa in my opinion, because you're just getting 100% crit now with the new LDR is so strong, and yeah, it's my preferred build definitely. So anyways guys, don't forget to of course like, comment and subscribe, and any questions, queries or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I will either reply or heart it at least. Okay. So now we're going to jump straight into the gameplay. So this lane is relatively straightforward. We have a Varus and we have a Thresh. Now those two champions don't generally sync up too well because Thresh wants to really go all in on someone, whereas Varus just wants to sit back and poke. So it's not really the best lane combination for them because one wants to go in, one wants to stay back and poke. So this basically means that we can just step up and just do a lot of damage. You guys can see we basically just destroyed them in the trade here. Thresh is like at blinking health and Varus is like at 1/3 health, and they are both in trouble, and it's only level 1, so we're definitely doing pretty well. Basically all we want to do is wait for Thresh to use his abilities like that. He already wasted hook, and then we can just go in and start doing damage because Varus does burst damage. He doesn't really do a lot of DPS, so if we're in a position where we can basically DPS Varus, that's going to be really good. Now if I was the Varus player here, all I would basically do is, despite having a Thresh, I just want to stay far away out of Kaisa's attack range and just shoot arrows to CS or to hit the enemies, being both Kaisa and Nami. So don't think this Varus is doing particularly well in that aspect. He's walking up a lot, which allows me to auto and Q him. Like, he's at half health, whereas I'm at full health. And we do have sustain in the lane with Nami. Nami's healing herself back up, whereas they don't. So here you guys can see that we're getting them really low. However, the issue here is that we had a big miscommunication. So I thought that me and Nami were gonna go all in on them because they were both really low. But Nami saw Wukong in trouble, and the moment I actually went in on them, Nami turned around to help the Wukong and basically contributed no spells to me at all. What this basically led to is I end up getting 2v1, I get hooked, and I basically just die. So pretty major, I wouldn't say it's a mistake, but I think that it was just me and my support not being on the same page, which does happen sometimes, especially in solo queue. Like Nami was thinking I need to help Wukong. I was thinking, we have them here, we have them low, we can get a kill. But instead, we both thought different, and it just basically just didn't work out. So anyways, we gotta put that behind us and get back into it. So here, thankfully, because of all the harass that we did against the Varus, we're actually still relatively even with the Varus. Of course, Varus did get the kill goal, but we are still relatively alright. He got the assist goal, but we're still relatively even with him, especially after we get this wave. We're gonna be relatively even in goal, so it's not really the end of the world. Sometimes when you're playing aggressively, like when you're on a Caitlyn or something, and you're causing them to lose a lot of CS, you accidentally die to them. It's not the worst in the world because at the end of the day, they're still really behind because of how they've been losing a lot of CS. So here again, I'm just trying to basically get in any attacks I can onto them, which normally as a Kaisa in laning phase, you don't really play like that. Normally Kaisa has to play really safe in the laning phase so she doesn't have range, but you have to adapt to the situation. Sometimes if you see your opponent is inexperienced and they are doing the wrong thing, then you want to take advantage of it by playing aggressive. But By right, Kaisa shouldn't have any right to play aggressively in the laning phase, almost regardless of the matchup. Like, there isn't really a matchup in ADC matchup in like the entire game. I believe that Kaisa really wins in the laning phase. I don't think there really is one. Even like, she loses against short range matchups as well, like Vayne and Lucian, and against longer range matchups like Xayah, Caitlyn, Varus, Ezreal, etc. She can't really get in range to attack them without taking a lot of damage back. So she doesn't really win against any ADC here. So anyways, Nami gets caught by the hook into the Chain of Corruption, and there's really nothing you can do to help. Nothing I can really do to help her here. So if your support gets caught or something like that, you don't always want to go and help them, because if I stepped up there, the Chain of Corruption would have spread onto me, and then I would be in trouble. So here, the enemy team just trying to delay my back, which is of course a little bit annoying, but hey, it is what it is. Here, Wukong is on the way. So actually, them stopping my back has caused Wukong to be able to rotate and come in with the Cyclone. And then I'm following up, of course, here I ult. I do get exhausted here. Fortunately though, I barely managed to actually kill the Varus before I escape. So here I'm just going to recall and let my team handle the rest of the fight. Unfortunately though, that is not quite happening, and my Nami dies, and then my Wukong dies right after. So obviously I'm at 1 HP here. There's no point of me going back in to help them, because what would have likely happened is I would just straight up just die to them as well and feed them another kill. So I do the best I can in this situation, which is to get a kill and to get out. So here I'm 1-1-1, so not the hottest start in the world, which is a really nice for a video purposes. I'm not stomping lane like 4-0 or something like that. Very even game, 1-1-1. You can see I'm kind of struggling. We did get killed once. Nami did get killed a couple of times as well, but we did manage to pull one back with the Wukong gank. And we're just going to see how it goes. So obviously in the meantime, the enemy team has picked up the Ocean Dragon because all of us were dead, and nothing we could really do about that. Thankfully, Ocean Dragon, pretty much the least important dragon out of them all. So now my team is going to try to contest Herald, but since Thresh and Varus are still here, I'm just sticking around. Here, I'm getting in quite a number of attacks here. I stack up my lethal tempo pretty well. I'm here focusing Varus. Don't want to focus the Thresh here. Varus is the main damage source. I do get the kill onto the Varus. And then I ult for the shield, because Thresh does do a pretty decent amount of damage. His damage is not really to be underestimated, especially with that thing where he charges his basic attack damage on his E. So Thresh does decent damage in 1v1s with his like CC as well. So here I'm not taking any chances. I'm ulting for the shield, and then I managed to pick up a double. So this is a really important pickup for me. Allows me to get enough gold to pick up my Stormrazor, and gives me a relatively significant lead against my enemy laners. So here, Varus of course is going for lethality. He's just picked up the Serrated Dirk, and he doesn't have the Mirror Mana yet. So I know at this point I should be winning against a Varus in a 1v1 or even in a 2v2, provided I don't get hit by every single Thresh CC there is. But anyways, it should be fine. Thresh walks all the way up, and Seraphine comes down as well. Again, here Nami gets caught. Nothing I can actually do here without putting myself in a lot of unnecessary danger. I see out of the corner of my eye Jax is over there. I ward over the wall, and here it looks like a 4-man dive is about to ensue. I quickly pop the fruit to just get as much help as I can. Ahri is on the way down. Thankfully though, the ward does reveal that they aren't actually gonna dive anymore. Ahri face checks into the bush, where we know that there are at least 2 people there, which is exactly what happened. So Ahri pretty much just escapes with 1 HP here. Jax comes in. I managed to flash away from his counter strike. Nice charm by the Ahri, and here I'm blasting everybody. A lot of low health bars. I ult for the shield and get the kill onto the Thresh, and I do manage to actually I don't actually manage to get the kill onto the Jax. I just die. Fortunately though, Ahri is actually able to clean up. And by the way guys, notice how Ahri had 1 HP just now, and she's now back to full HP. So that is the insane power of Ahri's resets. Like, if you guys didn't know, when Ahri gets reset on her ultimate, she does heal off of her passive as well. And she did get multiple resets there, and she managed to literally heal from no health to full health, which is pretty insane in my opinion. But anyways, we did get the kill 1 for 1. So 4, 2, and 3, we're doing pretty decent. Of course, Ahri did get the bulk of the kills there, so she's now at 8k gold. She has a lot of gold at the moment. But my goal is still competitive with the enemy team, so we're still good. Ahri is of course pretty ahead. I did get hooked by Thresh here, but no follow-up, because Seraphine and Varus, you guys can see, are coming down from the river from the mid lane. I just pop a ward there. We can see them on the way down. Obviously, we're going to back off here because we don't want to fight a 2v3 for no good reason. And yeah, so here, in the meantime, pretty much just waiting for the wave to come in from your farm. Jax is on the way down again, so here, we're gonna see what we can do. But so here I'm backing off all the way away from the tower because I don't really want to get dived by Thresh and as well as the Jax. Varus has CC on his ultimate as well. Jax is nowhere to be seen now though, so I can instantly clear the wave using my evolved Q, which does pretty much have instant wave clear. Ahri is coming down, so here I am rotating to try to help her out. I hit my W, which ended up basically being a KS. Here, Jax comes in, and here we're just blasting him. Ahri with the ultimate goes in. Here, Ahri with a really nice charmer out over the wall to get the kill onto Varus, and then finish off the Jax as well. Now, I would say that this, for me, is the major turning point of the game, because this is where I got the triple, and now I'm really fed as well. If you look at my goal now I'm also at 8k gold. Ahri is now at nearly 10k gold, because she was also involved in these kills. And this huge injection of gold allows me to, of course, pick up my items and pretty much get ahead of the curve as compared to the enemy team. Honestly though, the enemy Seraphine is really fed at 5 and 1, but she hasn't been farming very well because her goal is now like comparable to like Varus, who's 3 and 4, and the rest of her team is kind of lagging behind as well. Also, I got the double buffs from Jax, which is really huge. Double buffs always going to come in handy. Now, both Herald and Dragon are about to spawn. Now that we've taken bot lane tower and backed and picked up our Runan's Hurricane, we can actually rotate mid. Thresh pretty much just walks face first into all of us, and we burst him down before anything really happens. Jax comes in with the counter strike, and I dodge the Seraphine ult. Here, I see an opportunity to go in onto the Varus. I managed to kill the Varus as well as the Seraphine, who does have a shutdown being 5 and 1. So I pick up 2 more kills inclusive of a shutdown, and now I'm really ahead. So this is amazing for me, and this now allows us to transition into taking the dragon. Because of course, enemy team is not really up to contest the dragon. So here we do get the dragon pretty much for free. And now from dragon we can rotate straight to Herald. Now again, we've taken our bot lane tower already, so we don't have to be too concerned about that. Now of course we don't want to give our own bot lane tower away for free. But the anticipation is that the enemy team will come towards the Herald as well to contest it. We pretty much picked it up, so now we know that enemy team might be going down to bot. But our wave is now starting to push out, so this shouldn't be too big of an issue. I managed to back and complete my Zhonya's Hourglass. Of course, at this point, I have gone from like, I think it was like 3 or 4 and 2. I think I was like 4 and 2, now I'm like 9 and 2. So here, I'm just helping Wukong take the buff. Remember, with the new jungle change, you don't want to steal the buff from the jungler. So here, I'm pretty sure he thought I was trying to steal the buff from him, which is why he waited for me to attack to smite. But I was waiting for him to just take it so that I could take the shared buff. So a little bit of a miscommunication here again, which caused both of us to be really late to the fight. Fortunately, I hit the Void Seeker onto Seraphine, allowing me to ult in. Here I'm trying to blast the Varus, but Varus does hit the stasis. Here I'm blasting, I get the Jax, and I'm trying to go onto Set and Varus. I see like a quadra kill in the making here. Unfortunately, I get really low, and I barely manage to kill the Varus. I'm not gonna want to chase the Set down anymore. Instead, I see a juicy top wave, so I'm gonna hit over to top and pick up that juicy wave, as we all can see here. And my team in the meantime is heralding mid to get the mid tier 2 and possibly even go for the inhib charge. And here I get myself the IE, so now I triple crit items with Runan's IE and Stormrazor. I'm really strong at this point. This is a really big power spike, and I also have the stasis completed and up and available as well. I have red buff as well, so pretty much I'm really strong at this point in the game. And yeah, so now maybe what I want to focus on is trying to not give shutdown to the enemy team if possible, because again, I went from 4 and 2 to like 12 and 2, so that's like an 8 kill shutdown there, which is like legendary kill worth gold of shutdown. Not legendary kill, but becoming legendary after 8 kills. So here I'm just blasting again, basically whoever I can with the Runan's Hurricane is really useful. So here I stasis the counter strike, and I do have flash to flash away, allowing me to actually escape that sticky situation that I found myself in. Here Jax gets chain CC'd, and we are able to easily finish him off. Again, I get the double buffs, I believe, from Jax, which is pretty huge. So here I make the call for Baron. 4 enemies are dead, only Seraphine is left alive. Seraphine is fed, but you know, she can't really stop us from taking Baron. So this is pretty much a free Baron if everybody comes, which everybody thankfully does. So at this point, I'm very fed, Ahri is very fed, and Wukong and Yone are now getting really fed as well. So essentially my team is just getting fed all across the board compared to the enemy team. which is absolutely amazing. So here I'm gonna build towards the LDR, of course, to get me to that 100% crit. And here the red buff is again spawning. So here, since Wukong is nowhere near this area, here I'm just going to take the red buff for myself, because there's no real point to wait for him to come all the way here and take the red buff so that we can share it. It's just going to be a very inefficient use of both his time and my time. So in this case, the most efficient thing to do is just simply take the red buff. So now here, my team basically starts trolling. Me and Ari are the main carries of the team, but my whole team decides to fight without me and Ari around. Ari, you can see, is now only just walking towards the fight, whereas I recognized that there was a huge bot wave that needed to be cleared. If not, we're going to lose our tier 1 tower, and it's going to push all the way into tier 2 as well. So I had no choice but to go down and clear the wave. And the whole team basically just went in and just died. So 2 Baron buffs removed for free on Wukong, and Yone is really not a optimal scenario in any way, shape, or form. But you can't really control what your teammates do, so no real choice in the matter. In the meantime, I'm just picking up all the minions in the bot lane. I'm picking up pretty much the whole red side jungle farm, and I'm just trying to get to LDR as fast as possible. Now my goal is like almost the same as Ari's already, just through all the extra farming. And here I finally do pick up the LDR, so this gives me 100% crit. So at this point, I know I am incredibly strong, so I'm ready to go in and do some damage. Ari gets a catch onto the Set. Set gets caught. Wukong goes in with the ultimate, so Set didn't even have an opportunity to hit W. I ult in for the Varus. Varus goes down. And here I was actually trying to chase for more kills, because I was thinking that a multi-kill here was really likely, but Thresh pretty much gets way too far away, so I'm pretty much just content with getting the assist on that. So I hit the Void Seeker on Thresh, and they took way longer than I thought to actually kill him, so I thought I could maybe get the kill, but I ended up getting the assist anyways. And here we pretty much have can end the game, because just now I pushed out the mid lane wave to allow us to have the wave to end the game with. So that did pay off, in case you guys didn't notice that small little thing where I pushed out the mid lane wave before anything, which allowed me and my team to of course go ahead and end the game after getting the last couple of kills. So here, as you guys can see, pretty nice game from me. Did get MVP, did get S, and with the 100% crit build, we did get to 100% crit though, so we did actually manage to show that off. Somehow Yone does more damage than me, but anyways, there we have it for the crit gameplay. So I will leave you guys with the rest of the stats as usual, and I'll be back when we get into the second game of the hybrid build. Okay, welcome to game 2. So, not sure how many of you guys are still going to be watching, because this is a really long video. But anyways, I was thinking of just doing this video format for other champions like Tristana or Xayah that have like 2 builds. Like both of them can go for like Navori or can go for like Bloodthirster. So I was thinking of maybe doing this sort of video format for those 2 as well. But I'm not too sure if you guys like this kind of longer videos, because I do know that sometimes like you see like, oh my god, this video is an hour long. Like, do I really want to watch all of it? And then you see like, instead you see like 2 20-minute videos and like on 2 different days, and like, oh, this looks a lot more consumable. So I don't really know if you guys will like it. But anyways, I'm gonna just see the response to this video and see how it's like the likes, the comments, or the views, and that kind of thing. And then that will, I'll see whether I want to do the same kind of format for Tristana as well as for Xayah. So anyways, so here in this game we have a really strange like Annie support. So I'll talk a little bit about that later, but first up we're going to talk about why we're going for hybrid Kaisa in this game. So in this game we have no AP on the team, so ideally here I should have picked a AP champion like Corki or like AP Varus, like some actual AP damage dealer, but I really didn't feel like playing a mage or playing Corki today, so I decided to go for AP Kaisa anyway. Now, Kaisa is not a true AP carry. She still mostly does AD damage, but when you build her AP, she does deal a significant amount more AP damage, because of course she does have AP scalings. Nashor's Tube does give her the bite passive, so on hit she does more AP damage. And proccing her passive does also deal AP damage, by the way, in case you guys didn't know, even when you build AD. So she is a decent AP damage source. It can be such that, like, you know, enemies just all go for armor and, you know, completely counter your team. Anyways, the whole enemy team isn't very tanky. They're all relatively squishy. The only person who might build armor is possibly like Olaf, or maybe like Diana, who will go for like the Crystalline Reflector. Anyways, here you guys can see Leona goes in, and we're gonna try to go onto Annie. We flash forward for the kill on Annie and just exhaust the Ezreal, but a bit too much minion aggro, so we do have to back off. So the previous match we saw us working together with a Nami, and this match we can see going together with a Engager. Now, Kaisa does well with both, because Kaisa is a hyper carry. You have an enchanter, you know, you're gonna be doing good. You have an Engage support, you're gonna be doing good as well, because Engage supports have a lot of CC. They can stack up your passive for you, and when they go in, you can actually follow up with your ultimate. We'll see an example of that later on in this gameplay. You can follow up with your ultimate, and you can easily just, you know, go in with your support, and they can lock someone down for you. You can land like your W easily. You can land your Q, etc. And pretty much it's just easy kills. You guys already saw 2 examples. We got 2 kills on Annie already. It's pretty straightforward of how it works. So. Anyways, now we'll talk a little bit about Annie support. So the reason why I put Annie support in my tier list, like in the lowest tier, is because she really doesn't have a lot of supportive capabilities. What does support Annie bring to the table? Number 1, a shield she can put on her ally, a tiny shield she can put on her ally. Number 2, a stun. But the stun, as you guys can see, is so predictable. You guys can see here she has full stacks on her passive. You know she's gonna want to stun you, so when that happens, you can just back off and make it difficult for her to do anything. And now she has to charge up her stun again, which is really annoying, and she has really low range. So you see here she has full stacks of the sickle, but it's really hard for her to proc the sickle because she cannot just step for an auto attack because she's gonna take a lot of damage. Here, really nice engage by the Leona again, allows us to easily take down the Ezreal, and then we can move on to going on to the Annie. Now somehow Tryndamere actually dies here. I think his ult literally ran out at that exact moment, and the Shen didn't even port here and he died. Anyways, here in comes the Diana, tries to do whatever she can, but you know, again, with the help of CC from Leona, allowing me to stack up my passive, I'm able to actually just kill the Diana. So we're off to a really hot start this game, way better than the previous game. Now we're 3-0 and 2. We've got ourselves the Q Evolve and the boots now, and then we're now going to build towards the Storm Razor, of course. So yeah, Kaisa really strong with Engage support. If you ask me personally, I prefer to play Kaisa with Engage support than an Enchanter, but factually both really does work for Kaisa. Like technically both works really well. So Annie support is a pretty horrible pick, so we did have that advantage for us. Here Leona goes in again, does whiff the ulti, but at this point doesn't actually matter. We flash forward to secure the kill onto Ezreal for the Rampage. And here there's a collapse going in onto the Annie. But unfortunately, nothing really happens here, except that the Dragon and Herald are about to spawn. Here, you guys can see Annie a little bit overconfident here. Leona goes back in, allowing me to actually ult straight on over and just finish off the Annie, as you guys can see there. We do a lot of damage at this point because we're incredibly fat, so we do a lot of damage. And with all these deaths, especially not synced up, we can move on to trying to take the dragon. Now, enemy team is here to contest, of course. Here I'm just trying to land damage on whoever I can, basically. Thankfully, Tryndamere does secure the dragon. I exhaust the Diana so she doesn't really do damage to my team. We kill the Diana. Olaf runs away, and we do secure the kill onto Ezreal as well. So pretty nice start. This Kha'Zix goes for the Herald. By the way, guys, if you guys saw the Samira updated complete guide, this Kha'Zix is the same Kha'Zix from that game. The Kha'Zix that basically won the game single-handedly for his team, and this is the match after that. So I managed into this Kha'Zix again, and I was like, oh man, this dude again. Anyways, here I managed to actually get 3 full plates worth of gold here because no one is here to defend the tower. That's absolutely amazing. Then I'm gonna just quickly clear out the minion wave, and then I'm gonna back off. So here I have 3k gold in the pocket. I was actually gonna recall, as you guys can see here, but Leona was on the way down, so I was thinking that maybe we could get another free kill or two onto like Annie and Ezreal. Ult kind of just whip again. I end up queuing the minion instead of Annie, which isn't too great. Kha'Zix and Diana are coming down here. I spotted, I'm like, oh no, we're in trouble, so we gotta start running away. Now here Ezreal hits the ult. I tried to dodge Diana ult with my ult, but Diana's ult radius is a little bit too big, and I end up basically dying. Now the only good news out of this entire situation is Annie gets the shutdown. And Annie is literally the worst person to get the shutdown, because Ezreal with the shutdown would have been great, Kha'Zix would have been great, Diana would have been great, Olaf would have been great as well. And I think Annie's the worst because she has the least gold because she's playing support. And yeah, she's still building AP, of course, because Annie can't really build support. She's still building AP, but she's getting the least gold already. Like, if you look at her team, she has the least gold at the moment. Even with the shutdown, she's only at 5k gold, which is fine by me. Like, if I were to die to someone, and dying to Annie is great, I guess. So here, no more shutdown. So technically speaking, she did help me kind of remove my shutdown. So I can play a little bit more recklessly because I don't have to worry too much about giving a shutdown to like Ezreal, Diana, or whoever. So here we can pretty much just force down this tower. And yeah, fortunately we did lose first tower just now after we all died in the bot lane. They did manage to take down that tower. So here we can see a fight happen in the mid lane, and we're trying to rotate there as quickly as possible to see what we can do. So here I spot a couple low health bars. I hit the Void Seeker. I'm gonna just ult in and gonna try to kill people, but unfortunately I didn't realize there's gonna be 4 people. I thought that there was 3 people, but I didn't notice that there was a 4th person kind of in the river. So I ulted. I was kind of shocked that there was 4 people there, but you know, instant reaction is to just do damage and just kill whoever I can. So I did get 1 kill, end up trading 1 for 1. Not too best in the world. But here Leona goes in and Tryndamere goes in. Again, 2 blinking health bars, not the best. Kha'Zix flash E onto the Leona for the kill, gets the reset, E's out of the way, and stealths away as well. And yeah, this Kha'Zix is a really good player in terms of especially his macro, but also his macro is pretty solid. So wasn't too excited to fight this guy again. But hopefully we can get the win this time. We did, of course, lose the match in the Samira updated complete guide, which you know was pretty bad. But yeah, so here we're gonna try to redeem ourselves. We're in the position to do so. We're 7-2-3. Now we've completed our Nashor's 2, so we do have the E evolve now, and we're trying to just get that 1 amp tome, which I think we probably can afford at this point. But you know, just backing for an amp tome feels pretty bad. And here, okay, here you guys can see I'm waiting behind the wall. Now here, the reason I'm behind the wall is that they don't have vision of me. So here you guys can see, now they know I'm here, which is when I'm going to reveal myself and start blasting people down. Here I'm ulting over to try to get the kill onto Diana and Olaf, which I do get the kill on Diana, but Olaf survives for way longer than I really thought that he should. But I guess he is 3-1-3, and he does have both Sunder and Triforce, so he does do a lot of healing while also having a lot of attack speed and damage. So Olaf is a pretty big problem, because he does do a lot of damage and he is really tanky as well. Pretty insane lifesteal as well coming out of the Olaf, so that's sort of an issue. In hindsight, probably Execution's Calling would have been a good pickup here, but I know Leona did already have the Bramble Vest. I thought I would have been fine, but the healing coming out of Olaf is pretty insane. So here my team does manage to secure the Herald. In the meantime, I'm going bot lane to just pick up this wave that has managed to stack up while we were all doing stuff in other places. So here I'm just going for the red buff. Tryndamere doesn't seem interested in it, so I'm just going to take it for myself. While I'm at it, you might as well just take the Krugs. As I always mention, I pretty much said this countless times already, but just take whatever farm you can get. Here I see a fight kind of breaking up, but my team is split into 2 halves, whereas the enemy team is all together, which doesn't really look good for my team. And basically, Tryndamere dies, Shen dies, and we're only left with Leona and 2 ADCs, so no real chance of contesting the dragon here. But again, it is the Ocean Dragon, so it's not really the worst in the world. Enemy team picks up the Ocean Dragon, whereas we're just all gonna escape with our lives. Here are 3 people on the mid lane tower. Can't really defend that without putting ourselves at risk of dying, so we're just gonna back off. And yeah, so here we have our triple evolved already. We did eventually get the Amp Tome, so we're doing pretty solidly now. Diana goes in, and here I have my ult up, so I'm just waiting for an opportunity to ult in onto somebody, see what I can do. Here Diana goes in, which is not a good idea. I ult over, kill the Diana, and here Kha'Zix has a shutdown. I exhaust him, and I'm flashing forward to chase him. I do get the kill on Kha'Zix. Unfortunately, Ezreal happens to be right there, and after I finish off Kha'Zix, I immediately get killed by Ezreal. Ezreal picks up a double onto the Tryndamere, and they're now on the chase for the Shen. Olaf does hit the Undertow, which does slow down the Shen, but Shen eventually does manage to actually escape. And it's all good, I guess. So now we're 11-4-3, so not the cleanest game in the world, but at the same time, you know, we're doing pretty well, I would say, but, you know, quite a bit of deaths here and there. Now we're building towards IE. Lucian's going to go for the blue buff. He is going for the kind of the tanker mid lane Lucian build, which I might make a video on eventually, actually, but we'll see about that. Alright, so here just gonna quickly clear out the wave. And yeah, so here not much happening because there are no objectives that are up at the moment, and pretty much all we can really do is just like clear waves and yeah, unless the enemy team randomly engages us in a fight. So here we have the IE completed, and now we can hit back out. 3 items completed, stasis completed as well, and now we're going for Rift Maker next. So here we can see a fight happening in the top lane. Shen getting chased down, but he's a really tanky boy, so Lucian is able to come around and help. And now we are also able to come around and try to help out if possible. Here I'm just trying to like snipe out a couple of people with my W's because I do have you know, the reduced cooldown when I do, but this doesn't look like a very good fight. 4 people of the enemy team are here, whereas my team are all sort of split up, so this definitely is not a fight that we want to take. We're just gonna see what else we can do. So here, you know, just gonna clear out the wave, and yeah, so now Baron is up, but neither team can really start it like just freely, so we're not gonna be doing too much. Annie was trapping in the bush. Fortunately for Leona, she doesn't actually die to the Annie burst. Despite, I mean, Annie only really has 1 item. She doesn't really have a 2nd item yet, so I guess that doesn't make sense. And yeah, so here I'm trying to get the shared red buff, which I do manage to actually pick up. So I did pick up the red buff, and the enemy team is all kind of at the top side of the map, kind of posturing towards the Baron-ish area. So we do have to be a little bit wary of that. They might be going to Baron. So here, you know, someone does realize that as well. Someone's pinging on Baron, and they are actually indeed on the Baron. So we are all quickly here. I spot Annie in the backline, quickly just getting back and killing Annie. I exhaust Ezreal so he doesn't do damage to me. I kill Ezreal as well. Down goes the Olaf, and only Kha'Zix is left. Now Kha'Zix actually manages to get the Baron and get out. But honestly, I would take this this trade now. The enemy got Baron, but we got 4 kills. So basically, only Kha'Zix has the Baron now, and no one actually died. So this is a pretty huge teamfight win for my team. And also, as a result, we can actually push on all the way into the inhibitor because we do have double cannons. And the next wave is coming in as well. Kha'Zix cannot defend by himself because he doesn't really have wave clear. He does have the Baron buff, but that's not really going to help him defend against us taking inhib. Of course we can end the game, but what we can do is we can take the inhib pretty much for free. So we traded Baron for like inhib, and only 1 Baron at that, so I think that's a really good deal. Here enemy blue buff is up, Tryndamere takes it, and I take the shared blue buff. I'm gonna have to quickly run away because Annie looks like she wants to out someone, Protobox forward, but nothing too much comes of it. In the meantime, in the mid lane, we do have some shenanigans happening, so we're gonna see if we can do anything to help out in that aspect. Not too much things to be done here. I'm just blasting with my W, getting some free poke damage. Here Annie goes in with the stun. Here I stasis to prevent follow-up damage, which there really isn't a lot of actually. So here I spot some low health bars. I'm gonna ult all the way over to finish off Olaf. And here Tryndamere actually picks up a triple kill, and everybody starts chasing Annie for some reason, even though this makes no sense. We should be clearing out the waves or going toward Dragon instead, but everybody's just chasing Annie down. Shen and Leona eventually does manage to catch up to the Annie. They're probably gonna kill her eventually. There we go. Leona gets the kill onto Annie. While me, Lucian, and Tryndamere are gonna be going for the dragon now. This Kha'Zix I know loves to be sneak around, so here I'm checking for Kha'Zix first, and we do actually spot him. So yeah, he doesn't actually manage to get off any form of a steal. So here again, Tryndamere is walking away, so I'm just gonna take the red buff for myself. I have 4 items at this point, really strong. I do have the Riftmaker now. In this match, I was thinking whether or not to go LDR, but looking at the enemy team champions and their builds, Olaf isn't really building any like actual armor, so I felt that I didn't really need LDR in this match, and the enemy team has been grouping up a ton this match. So I thought going last item, Runan's Hurricane, made a lot more sense, which is what I'm going to start building towards. I'm going to start trying to get myself the Runan's Hurricane. And, you know, basically now means I'm on a quest to farm the jungle. So here I'm just farming whatever I can, trying to get myself enough gold to pick up Runan's Hurricane. Now, I don't have enough gold for Runan's Hurricane yet, but I do have enough gold for a cloak, which is gonna, you know, give me more crit chance, which, you know, of course allows me to crit more, with the IE do more damage overall. Alright, so here again, another fight sort of happening in the mid lane. I was walking up, thought the fight would continue, but the enemy team decides to disengage. Probably Ezreal outspotted me, so they didn't quite want to take a fight with a fed Kaisa there. And yeah, so here Diana does have to flash out of the way to prevent herself from being engaged on. And the next Baron is coming up in 15 seconds. So basically both teams will of course want to have that Baron, and as a result, of course, it is something we got to look out for. So in the meantime, again, Shen is getting caught pushing side lane by Kha'Zix and Ezreal. But again, he's really tanky. So Kha'Zix and Ezreal managed to get the kill on him, but they have to come all the way here to get the kill on him. And here I was trying to land the W to ult onto Ezreal, but I don't quite manage to land it. Here I exhaust Olaf so he doesn't kill Lucian, and I do manage to pick up the kill onto Olaf. So this is pretty good because now Diana and Annie are actually on the other side of the map. And not quite sure where Kha'Zix is, but here I'm just going to secure the skull first because we want the Baron vision. And somehow the top lane towers of the enemy team are all still up. So here I'm just going to rotate over and help Leona take down the tower. She doesn't actually need my help. Kha'Zix is somewhere around this area, so we do want to be a little bit cautious of that. But it looks to be all fine. Lucian deals with the bot lane wave, and here I'm just going to back. Maybe have enough for Runan's Hurricane. Yep, there we go. We did get ourselves the Runan's Hurricane. So now we're full build. Triple crit items with Runan's Hurricane. And we also have 2 AP items with the Nash's Tooth as well as the Riftmaker. So here red buff again spawning. Trinamir is dead. So again, I'm just going to take red buff for myself. Now as far as possible, you should try to share the buff with your jungler. Or you should try to get the jungler to share the buff with you. But you know, as I said, if it's inconvenient to do that, just take the buff for yourself. It's going to make it easier for everyone. Unless, you know, your jungler starts getting tilted and flames you or whatever. But yeah, so here pretty much Baron is up, but no team can really do Baron. And Elder Dragon 1 minute away from spawning. So here I'm thinking of just trying to hard force down this inhibitor in the bottom lane. So here enemy team is of course here to defend. Here I'm just walking through and just gonna try to get over there and try to get down that tower. Now fight sort of breaks out in the mid lane. Ezreal does die. Diana flashes away, and here again we're gonna just try to push down this tower instead of trying to care too much about the fight. Kha'Zix is pushing in the meantime again, which is the same thing that he normally does. Here Annie ults but doesn't actually hit me. Diana goes in, does get melted instantly. Olaf also gets melted instantly, and only Annie's left. Annie also gets melted pretty much instantly. I ult over to secure the kill onto the Annie. Kha'Zix has recalled to try to stop us from making any more progression, but as a single man he cannot really do very much. So again, here we're gonna finally end the game. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this gameplay. Hopefully you guys also enjoyed this new format of the ultimate, you know, complete guide. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I'll leave you guys with the stats as usual, and goodbye.